Paint this cute little snowman today. I've already painted two with the same dot card so far. The snow is made with salt. You can see the different salt effects on the two. This one has less salt, and we have more salt over here, and the paper was wetter. I'm going to wet the background, making it easier to apply the paint next. You don't want puddles of water, just the whole thing to be glistening damp. On this dot card I have the ultramarine blue, the indigo at the top, and transparent orange at the bottom. I want the sky to be pretty dark so that the effects of the snow with the salt show up. While the paper is wet, add some salt. The salt picks up the pigment and leaves a white snowy effect. You can see the salt starting to do its effect. If you drop in the salt, if it's too wet, the salt will just dissolve and it won't make the snowy effect. If it's too dry, it also won't do any snow effect. So bit up a little bit. Apparently there's a little bit of orange in my brush. I gave him a orange cheek. That works. And I still can't get the brush clean. I'm going to get some indigo and work on his buttons here. I want some darker form shadows up here on the edge. Okay, I'll come up here and paint his eye. I'm going to leave a highlight in his eye. Yeah, I'm just going to add in some darker form shadows. And you can wait until almost dry to do that part as well. Probably end up doing both. Add little spots for his mouth. And again, just whatever irregular shapes you can get on there. Need some shadow under his neck. Get the brush wet and then dry it off a little bit on the paper towel. And then wet with a shadow will be a little bit of blue. It's going to bleed out the bottom edge, make a nice soft edge and be sharper up there at his head. I'm going to get the bottom part down here, kind of make a form shadow so he's nice and curved around. Let's get the paper wet, a little bit of blue. Kind of right in the middle into the wet area and then down towards the bottom. If it's just bleeding out to where it's wet, then it'll leave a nice soft line. Now that the buttons are dry, and then also just leave some blue shadow on there where they would be dented into the snow. Kind of sets them down into the snowman a little bit. And some blue up here, mouth shadow as well, and then his eye. And where his nose is going to be. The paper is dry now. You can tell if it's dry if it is no longer cool to the back of your hand. We just brush off the salt. And I'm darker at the bottom edge, so I'm going to paint it first. And get some water and bleed it up. Now that the shadow's dry, we'll add some form shadow to his head too, kind of the same as we did for his body. Let's get it wet to start with. If it's too wet, just use the damp brush to pick up the excess. Just a light blue. And drop it in again into the middle of the wet area. I'm going to make some brown for his arm. I'm going to use some orange. And just a little bit of blue. There we go. I'm gonna wet his arm. I think I'll make it a little bit more orange towards the top. And add in a little bit more blue. Make it darker at the bottom. I think he's done. Turned out pretty cute. The salt effect for making snow is fun.